Was it a tough decision to make that step?
It was not an easy decision at all. I think the automotive is a very interesting business to be in, even if it's currently under a lot of pressure. It's a very challenging time actually at the moment. We need to find ways how we can keep the competition at the same level. I think it's fair to say you can have sleepless nights because you have no guarantee that this works. The people and the knowledge of the people and the team you build is the most important asset you have.
And finally, the best bit of advice you've ever been given.
Welcome to another episode of In the Passenger Seat with Fields and Rudd.
Today, we are joined by Andreas Heim, the Vice President of Global Engineering and Customer Business Unit for Europe at Flex.
So Andreas, welcome to In the Passenger Seat.
Yeah, great to be here.
Fantastic.
Thank you for doing this ride with me.
Yeah, a cold morning in Filderstadt.
Yeah, fresh air around Stuttgart. Yeah,
absolutely. So, let's go back to where it all began for you. Starting a company yourself, founding a company and successfully selling a business, to now being at Flex and leading a global engineering empire, a European customer business unit as well. Where did it all begin for yourself?
Oh, it began very early with my father. He injected, so to say, a lot of gasoline in my blood. I have this passion for cars. I got it from him, and this was also always a topic in our family, you know, cars and motorsports and bicycles and motorbikes. And that's how it started. And relatively early, I did in Germany with this apprenticeship system, where you do an apprenticeship, and I learned actually unusual way. I learned car mechanic. And then after military service, I did another apprenticeship more on the commercial side of the house, where this was more about plastic parts for race cars and carbon fiber parts and such things. And there I did this commercial apprenticeship. And then after that I started to work in that company where I did this apprenticeship and did evening schools and evening university for a while. And then a little bit more than 30 years ago, I started working for a German mid-sized family company which had a cooperation agreement or a cooperation in place with Bose. You may know Bose from hi-fi systems. And it was very early phase of entertainment. In 1994, we equipped Audi cars and Mercedes cars with Bose premium audio installed from the OEM directly. It was very new at that point in time. And it was a great adventure there. And I was happy to work there for more than 10 years in different roles. And that was my entry into automotive and infotainment. So it was a whole time where infotainment became more popular. You know, how do you spend time in the car and enjoy music at that point in time. Infotainment became more popular.
Yeah.
And so that's where the whole journey started. In 2004, we decided to start a startup company, what you just mentioned. This was way before startup companies were really becoming popular like in these days or so. It was very a unique thing to start up something in an automotive space. And actually that's where I met also Flex. Flex became shareholder later of that startup company in 2006. And the idea was a fabless tier one. So S1NN was a fabless tier one with the engineering capability and all the supply chain management, everything which you would expect from a traditional tier one supplier, but with a fabless approach, so that Flex was our major supplier producing all these parts. And that's how we collaborated very successfully and could really grow the company very fast and came to a scale relatively fast with leveraging the global footprint on the Flex side. And that's how they became shareholder. And that's why I know Flex actually more than 20 years now. It's kind of interesting how the loop is closed.
Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah, it's a full circle. So now I'm on the other side. And still, you know, the DNA of the company is still the same at Flex, and help scaling and work in ecosystems and do this for the modern technology and compute, which we did at that time, of course, with less compute power, but somehow similar, and leveraging the global footprint and collaborate with OEMs in a different business model also, which is a bit more tailor-made. Yeah. So we think that's it's a full circle, and I'm enjoying doing this.
Going back to starting your own company, how old were you when you and I think it was 3 co-founders, right, of S1NN?
Yeah, we were 4 guys, and then we had a family office which invested. That was 2004, so let me do the math, it's 35.
Okay.
Yeah.
So quite an interesting time in your life, right? Where you've been working in the professional world for 10, 12, 15 years, something like that. Was it a tough decision whether to make that step?
It was not an easy decision at all. You kind of, oh, what do I do? Do I invest we invested our own time and of course also money. Is this successful? I think it's fair to say you can have sleepless nights when you do such a thing because you have no guarantee that this works. We had a good network, we had a good financial investor. We worked extremely hard. We were lucky also a little bit. I mean, a little bit of luck you need. Very hard to get the first customer. But as soon as you had the first customer, it was actually much easier to roll out. And I think we could establish ourselves very successful, also with the help of Flex at that point, because they gave us a stability which we didn't have in the supply chain, and the manufacturing. But I think it is quite a step to do it, but I wouldn't miss a day. I learned so much, which I benefit every day still, that it's a way different experience than being, let me say, a normal employee. And I only can recommend young people going into jobs. The biggest risk is you don't try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you should try and should be flexible. And I think it's not a problem even if you fail, you learn. Stand up again and try again. Try different. And I think there's only opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke a lot about last night, the company, the ups and downs, and eventually it went on to a successful sale to, it was Harman, right?
Yeah, the company was acquired by Harman, and I think that was also a good move at that point in time, because the infotainment stuff at that point in time became more complex, and you need to build on platforms or building blocks, and Harman had the scale to leverage what we have into other markets. And I think what we had in the S1N organization was the speed and the passion, and I would say, really the heartbeat for getting things done fast, but still disciplined, like a startup would do it.
Yeah.
But in a bigger ecosystem, you can also scale it differently.
Absolutely.
And I think that was a good choice for both. We grew it to roughly 130 million revenue, and we grew it to 130 people. We had even people in the West Coast in San Diego, and I think it was a good exercise and a good point in time to put in different hands then.
Yeah. When did you start to realize, Andreas, the time could be close for a sale, or you were ready for a sale of the company?
That's an interesting question. When you look, and I think it still connects to today. When you look into the modern vehicles, there was in the past like hundreds of ECUs. Every function had an own ECU, an own box, which did something. And in the infotainment space, there were like CD changers, and then infotainment units, and then maybe a separate thing for the telephone and a separate thing for the media. And this was all became integrated. And then the complexity did grow significantly. And when we saw that the infotainment system becomes more like a computer, which combines all the different elements in one unit, we also saw that the investments we would need would be significantly higher. And also the engineering work power you need to get such a thing with a good customer experience on the road. And we saw that coming, and still now this is happening. Still, I think the OEMs currently do a lot of efforts to reduce the amount of ECUs, go into more compute domain controllers, in zone controllers, something we also invest a lot, to consolidate more functions in less devices, and software becomes more and more important, which runs on those compute devices. And I think we're still in this transition, but it started already 10 years ago.
So Andreas, you were talking a little bit about the challenges before winning that first customer program. It became a little bit easier for you guys after that first award. Were there any times before that came where you started to question, what had you done?
Oh yes, it was actually very difficult to get the first award. Such big OEMs, they want to make sure you have stability, financial stability, supply stability, and you can actually execute the program, right? And for a startup, they don't have this, let me say, track record that you have done this multiple times. Yeah, so that was what's very difficult to convince them. You need all these quality approvals and audits. We had a couple of events where we really could not succeed to get the award because they're just too much. They felt like it's too much risk. On the other hand side, we were super dedicated and passionate. We had also the financial support to get it done. And it took us a while to get the first award. Actually, Flex at that point in time already was helping us, committing that they will do the supply of the hardware. As soon as we had the first award, we could scale relatively quick, also with various customers. Nobody wanted to do it first, but as soon as we had the first customer, we could roll it out to multiple OEMs. That gave each other kind of confidence. Yeah, and this was a very exciting journey because we also need then to grow very fast, and it's always important to find the right talent.
Yeah.
How did you connect an iPod to infotainment and operate it, intuitively, relatively easy? There was not such a solution on the market. This was a good success, so we sold millions of that. We did a couple of redesigns, of course, to cost optimize, but that's really we had. That's what I mean with luck. We had also the right time with the right product, and I think with the right customer.
So the sale of the business happens. Harman acquires the company. How was that transition for you from going to be an entrepreneur for many, many years to now working inside one of the biggest automotive tier 1 suppliers there is in the infotainment space? How was that transition? How did you find that?
It's not an easy journey. So when you come from I used to come from a mid-sized company like 1,000 people or so. Then you do your own thing with like at the beginning 5, and then you start growing it.
Yeah.
And you have almost full control, about many things, and then you acquire it, and then somebody takes it over and integrates it into a bigger organization. There is some tweaks to do, right?
Yeah.
So there's sometimes days where you say, oh, would I really do it like this, or did we agree that we do it this integration, or it was not always easy, and it's, in particular you want to try to find a home for the people, because they are the asset. At least in our case, it was always the people were the biggest asset. And I think there was some obstacles in the integration, like in many other integration, but for many it worked out. For me personally, I decided that I want to go out.
Mm-hmm.
After roughly a year, I wanted to go away and do something else, and did get back actually to Electrobit, which is also a larger mid-sized company at that point in time, roughly 2,000 people. Then it's another different way of working, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I try to do, and I still do every day, is how you apply, act like an owner, think like an entrepreneur, and act like it, and also in every aspect of a decision, have this role model of how would I do it if it's my company or if I'm acting as a CEO.
Yeah.
And that's what this is still one of my values, and I really enjoy doing it, even in larger scope, in a larger corporate world like with Flex. And I still think it's good to have that DNA to move the needle.
How do you think that helps you? Because if you look at 90% of every other vice president of engineering or commercial, they probably wouldn't have had that experience that you've had of being an entrepreneur. How do you think that actually helps you day to day in your role now?
I think in bigger companies, sometimes you have the situation that you work in silos. You work in your department, in your structure, in a certain business unit, and you don't look across too much. And I think it helps me in looking across and try to make decisions with a perspective from different angles and more holistically. That's what I think it drives. And each decision is a decision about either money or people. Also, the future of the company, like roadmaps and stuff. And I think it helps a lot to think like a 360 degrees about it. And still, working in a larger environment, then you have different people also adding to the 360 degrees, also additional perspective, which you didn't even have. And I think that's really an enrichment. It's really adding value, and have diverse perspectives sometimes, then come to decisions. But still try to do it fast and also well thought through, right? Yeah. It's a balance to do it well thought through and also fast and come to conclusions. And making decisions right is important, but I think it's even more important if you may figure out you have done the wrong decision, you kind of repair it quick. Yeah. So I think that's even more important.
Great. So if we fast forward now, Andreas, to your position at Flex, you're actually wearing 2 hats, aren't you?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. So I started like a little bit more than 3 years ago as a VP for engineering for the global automotive engineering team, which was a great start. And it's still, I love the job. And since May 2025, so like a little bit more than 6 months ago, I started taking over the European business as well. But my primary focus will be in the future, the business side, the P&L side again. And I'm currently holding the VP for engineering as an interim. So that's how we decided to go forward, because I think the European business deserves my full dedication. So but in the moment I carry both roles.
Yeah.
And besides a lot of work, it has also some advantages, because sometimes you can just make decisions quicker. And our products are quite technical and quite engineering heavy.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes also a benefit. But I think in the long run, we want to have somebody who's super dedicated to engineering, which is a strong capability we have.
Well, how would you position Flex in the market right now?
Oh, I like that question. I think Flex, many people know that from electronic manufacturing services, we're doing more than 55 years. That's what we are known for many industries, also outside of automotive, right? So Flex is serving a lot of markets like data centers, critical power, health solutions, lifestyle products, and industrial products. And then there's automotive as a segment. And we are working in almost a very different business model with the OEMs. So we work from pure electronic manufacturing services, what some customers enjoy. And then we work on the other hand extreme is that we do black box designs, where we design a full product, for example, for power electronics or in the compute space, and where we act like a normal tier one. And we are a little bit a hybrid within this, as we are serving all kind of business models. And I think that's a very interesting spot in the whole new transformation of the automotive industry with the separation of hardware and software. And we are more hardware centric, providing that capability at scale in every region. And I think that positions us in a very good space, because we have a very big focus on manufacturing and engineering excellence, and with a lean structure. And I think that's how we can serve and in many areas compete with more full service tier one, which have a different way of working from the past. So I think the cultural element is for Flex in the right way. We foster that and add capabilities to be even more attractive for our customers.
You mentioned there full service and solutions. Is that the way the industry is going now, do you think?
I think there is no clear, they go only this way or the other way. I see tier ones, I see OEMs which want to really own all the critical aspects which differentiate a vehicle from their competitors.
Yeah.
And that contains to a large extent software. Is it the HMI? Is it the driving behavior? Is it the ADAS stack? They want to own that, and they want to characterize their vehicle with that. And then I see other OEMs which rely a little bit more on full service tier ones, as they cannot have the strategy, or let me say the investments also, to do this by themselves. They rely more on tier ones, and there's everything in between. In different regions, you have different markets like passenger vehicles, truck vehicles. But I think at least for passenger vehicles, there's a clear trend that the OEMs invest more into software, and we can support them with hardware development and capability in every region. I think that's really what positions us very strongly and gives us good opportunity in the market. And I think actually even better for the OEMs, because we can do their support in every region.
Yeah, literally going to say, do you think that hybrid model does allow you to offer a better service globally?
Oh yes, absolutely. I think we have engineering centers in every region of the world. We have manufacturing service in almost every region of the world. And combining this is, given now the eco-political situation and tariffs, giving a lot of flexibility to our customers, a lot of opportunity to make sure they get an optimal solution. That's a very strong asset. And we focus a lot on standardization in engineering, but also in manufacturing, so that we can support rollouts at scale with very disciplined way of working.
And touching a little bit on the actual future of the automotive industry. We talked about it a little bit there. What are your thoughts on it? Because it's a very interesting time at the moment in the market.
Oh yes, yeah, it is. It's a very challenging time actually at the moment. I mean, everybody experiences it every day, and with the impact of China on the EV market, China is the powerhouse at the moment for the rollout of electrification, and also for innovation on the supply side. I think that's really at a high speed, what we call China speed. So they really innovate at a great speed. That's phenomenal. And traditional businesses or traditional OEMs, we need to make sure that they can compete with that, right? That's one thing. Then I think it's currently very hard to predict the future, in particular when you look about chip crisis and global dependencies on raw materials and components. The business has become, I think, significantly more difficult to make sure you have a stable supply. You need to make sure that you don't run into tariff issues, and you need to consider also, long-term availability of products, right? In a much different way than in the past. Of course, also sustainability is an important topic. Our product should become more sustainable. Our supply chains should be more sustainable. And I think there's a lot of challenges right now in the market which needs to be addressed. And this transformation is really impacting the culture of companies, which is difficult. Yeah. But I see also very good examples on some OEMs which are really adapting fast, and we collaborate with them in many cases. And I think it's a little bit also my mission and my dedication to help our customers and ourselves with that to compete in such a tough market.
Yeah. What is the mission then now, Andreas, for you? Because we've spoken about the engineering and also the customer unit that you're driving. What's the kind of drive for you over the next year, 2, 3 years at Flex?
For me personally, it is really to establish Flex in particular in Europe now, but overall as a strong partner for automotive, growing our customer base, growing the business within the customer base for our products, which we call next gen mobility. It's mainly around power electronics and compute, and help scale this business and position us with the right engineering capability, the right manufacturing footprint, and sourcing strategies to help our customers grow faster in a very tough market. I think that's my mission. I think we're in a good trajectory, but in a tough market also. Just with the recent crisis and the recent tariff discussions, this didn't make our life anywhere close to easy. But I think it's also, from a management perspective, it's also interesting to operate in such an environment because you are daily pushed out of the comfort zone and you can develop also. And I think that's an opportunity also for our team members to develop their own skills and manage the complexity, but also the volatile, situation we have in the market.
How do you go about that?
The way I try to address this is to be transparent to the team about what I see, what's happening in the market, and always to build the relationship, what we can do to help us and also our customers, and maybe then with this also the society, to be an element of the change, be comfortable with change, implement it, don't be afraid, and make this, every day a little better so that we can be better positioned in that whole geopolitical game. Yeah. I'm not having plans to go into anywhere politics or so. I feel my space is more on the business side and more to help make things work and get things done. Yeah. So I think that's where I see myself, and I would really appreciate if we can collectively consolidate our efforts and make more out of the great resources we have.
And talk a lot about change and transformation. That also brings about exciting opportunities. What excites you most about the future of the industry?
The industry was complex at any point in time, and it's now maybe even more complex, but I think they always have found ways to come back with great products. The products we are doing are, interesting from an engineering perspective, they're interesting from an emotional perspective, they are interesting from design, they have all kind of aspects, marketing. I think the automotive is a very interesting business to be in, even if it's currently under a lot of pressure. Yeah, that's exciting for me, and it offers still opportunity. Okay, it's very rough right now, but it's always a good thing to work and develop yourself and being helpful to change the market, and I think that's what I try to do.
It must be exciting as well, being at the forefront of an industry where you get to see the products and and the new features coming out daily, and you can actually use them, right? Is there a feature that you're most looking forward to coming out in the car?
I think to drive autonomously is probably a wish of many. It's there since a while. It's a while. I would love to do it for a daily commute. I would love to do it and do phone calls also, but I really have a passion also to drive myself, you know. I personally would love to have a car which I can drive, maybe even gear shifted, you know, because I like it so much, but that's me. But I also think, you know, I spend so much time in a car which is kind of useless sometimes, and to have that option would be great, right? And then what I really enjoy, and it's part of my career also, I really enjoy having good audio in place in my car, because that's one of the few spaces I can really listen to stuff, either podcasts or also my favorite music.
What's it like using the actual, is it the Google in this car? It's the reason you bought this car, right?
Yeah, that's the reason why I bought this car, because I was part of the development project. This is a first to market Google Automotive Services application, and I was part of the engineering team doing this and launching it at Volvo, and that was the reason why I bought that car. Yeah, correct.
That's pretty cool. Did you tell the dealer who sold the car to you that was the reason?
I told them, but I'm not sure they really understood. They were kind of, okay, is this Google thing? Yeah, we're just brand new, so we don't know much about it.
It must be weird buying something from someone when you know way more about it than the person selling it to you.
It's an experience. It's an experience.
When did that concept start? What year are we talking?
This year?
Yeah.
I think I need to think about it. I think we launched end of 21 or 22 or so.
Okay.
I think it was end of 21 we launched it, but it started much earlier. So it started 2020, and we launched it. And the development was even started before I joined Aptiv. Yeah, that's a longer development, but it was a first to market, which is now it's in the rollout phase and many OEMs, and I think it's a good feature.
So Andreas, let's touch a little bit about software-defined vehicles. Why do you think the rollout in China is so much quicker than it is in Europe?
I think this has to do with that the China OEMs, which mainly are brand new OEMs, start from scratch, can start on a green field without any legacy, focusing a lot on software platforms, architecture, and drive it from there. They start software centric, where we are traditionally more hardware centric in Europe. Yeah, and I think that's one of the key differentiators. And then I think the way of working is a little different. We are used to serve a global market with a lot of complexity, with different solutions, while the China OEMs mainly started in China, with one country, with one language, with one kind of customer profile, and now they're the rollout. Of course, they are now also at more and more complexity, but they started from a very different starting point, and they leveraged actually a different way of working. And I think they have within their whole organization and smaller startups a much faster decision process. While we have been, these big companies, to turn the culture around from a hardware-centric model to a more software key focus is so much more difficult.
That's a really interesting answer.
I think it's not a technology.
Yeah.
It's more like the way of working and how you organize around that. I think the technology is understood. It's just how you implement this in your day-to-day, in the business model, the decision making. It's a hierarchical situation versus, Scrum teams, for example.
Yeah.
How do we do decision making, and how much experience is there? Yeah, it's challenging for traditional OEMs who are running an existing business with also shareholders who expect certain, benefits or outcomes or profits, and then transform this business into a new business while you maintain the old business. So I think that's part of the trick.
Do you think Europe are getting better at it?
I think the problem is understood. I think there's a lot of work in front of us. Still cultural-wise also in the way of working. But I think I see good initiatives at our customers to drive in this direction. Actually, many customers have developed and invested a lot into software. I think in the last motor show in Munich, you could really see first products where the customer experience has really upgraded a lot. I really see a positive trend, but it's a challenging environment still. Not all the problems are solved, but I'm confident on it.
You've been at Flex for 3 years now, I think, 3.5 years?
A little bit more than 3 years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Talk to us a little bit about the things Flex is doing in the market, and what it's like to lead that team, what it's like to attract people to that team, we've talked a lot about the challenges in the industry. So I guess bringing people into buying into your vision is important.
The people and the knowledge of the people and the team you build is the most important asset you have. That's really making a difference. We do our best to bring the right people on board. Try to go actually early into recruitment with students. We have students in our facility, for example, in our site here in Stuttgart, which is the power center of excellence for power electronics. We have students there. We try to bring them in and give them also a little space to do innovative things and to get to learn how products are designed for mass production, but also being innovative at the same time and really unlock their energy. And with this, we also try, of course, to unlock the energy of the people who are out there for many years. Yeah? It's also good to work with the new spirit of students coming in as one example. We try to find the right people. We have a very international team, very diverse team, engineers from many countries, which is, I think, also a very good atmosphere to create innovation and to have different perspectives in the team, different way of working. And of course, the challenge is to make this in a product development process, disciplined and execute and without failure. Some of our products, our life is depending. So it's safety products.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure these are operating at any point in time 100% safe. But having these different influences is good. And I think we have, from my perspective, a very powerful team. In some cases, we have actually 10x people there, really within the top 5% of the industry. And these guys bring a special value to us. I think it's really, really good. But it's also an effort to maintain the team intact and keep the spirit high and make sure that they feel comfortable when they do their work.
Absolutely. How do you retain those staff? What do you think keeps them staying at Flex?
It's important that the leader is important on every level.
Yeah.
I can just say for me, it's also important the leadership I work with. It's for me important what they think about certain things. We have good values, which is for us the foundation in every aspect what we do. And we have a good company culture. I think the framework conditions are absolutely okay and good. We have an international team, which is interesting. Of course, for engineers in particular, the content and what they work, what problems they can solve is for them the majority of the job. Right?
Yeah.
So they love to solve tough problems. And I think we can give them a good work atmosphere and a good work infrastructure that they can work on these difficult things.
Do you take a hands-on approach with the engineers?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From your background, I guess that's kind of, the value that they will get from somebody like yourself who has been there, done that, created products in this kind of area. Is that something that you kind of hold quite
There's
close
not
to you?
much more fun than you have your own product in your hands,
Yeah.
right? So, of course, we try to be pragmatic and hands-on. Hands-on doesn't mean, it does for me still mean it's disciplined.
Yeah.
It's not creative and it doesn't work. But a hands-on approach is really what we like. And I think when you come, I think one of the core assets we have is we have a DNA of time to market, fast time to market, and that requires a hands-on approach. We try to cultivate that and give also the people the freedom to work on interesting things and unlock innovation.
And we touched on it a bit there, but it all comes from, I guess, your early days and your passion. But you're now also a member of the supervisory board at, is it Phone? Am I saying it correct?
Yeah,
Phone?
correct.
Yeah, okay. Talk to us a little bit about that.
That's a personal connection, and I like the Phone company very, very much because they do audio stuff, and it's a company of audio freaks, I would say, very successful guys with a 100% plus passion for high-end audio, and it's so much. It's a little different because it's not a car product. It's a consumer product, or it's for bigger venues, or also for professional environments, phone conferences, or even Parliament in India, for example. The Parliament is equipped with phone products, and it's such a different thing. But on the other side, there's also parallel activities, where you how do they operate their company? What is their strategy? How do you bring it to the people across? And it's for me just an enrichment to see also another part of a very different business, and what's different and what's same, and to learn from that. I really enjoy to be part of that Phone family too, and that's a much smaller business, but it's not less successful. It's an amazing company. Yeah. So, and being part of that and helping shape them the future is really exciting.
And I know audio is one of your. You mentioned audio is one of your passions, and cycling as well. We've spoken a lot about. Tell us what kind of what do you engage in on the weekends? I know you like your cars, you like your cycling.
Most of the time I do cycling. Of course, I spend time with my family and my wife in particular. But she's also busy on the weekends. She has a horse, and when she takes care of the horse, I go cycling with either the road bike or the mountain bike. I try to do like 5,000-6,000 kilometers a year. So that's my yearly objective. In summer it's a little bit more. In winter it's a little bit colder.
Yeah.
But that's really my passion. And one of the highlights every year when it comes to this is I do with my friends. Almost every year we do, since more than 20 years, across the Alps. Yeah? So we go from usually from north to south.
Yeah.
And we're crossing the Alps either with a mountain bike or with a race bike, and that's something I really enjoy.
Did you say 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers per year?
Yeah.
That's more than I do in a car.
Oh, really? I bet you live in London, you use the subway, right?
Yeah.
My goal is actually 150 kilometer every week, 52 weeks a year. That's my goal. But I only achieved it once.
Okay.
Because it's quite time consuming. Yeah. It's 7,800 kilometers, and that takes a little bit of time.
And surely it's weather dependent, right? If it's raining, you don't go out.
I enjoy sun.
Summer cyclist.
Yeah.
I'm a summer cyclist. Or at least when it rains, I'm not so much outside. I bought actually equipment for indoor cycling now.
Oh, you mean like a Peloton?
Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's ugly boring, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you get the same enjoyment?
No, not at all. But it's better than doing nothing, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit exercise is important.
Yeah, agree. I would say it's like me, I prefer running outside to a treadmill, but I don't do much of either, to be honest, so I wouldn't say so.
I can lease you mine in summer.
Yeah. I won't be on that Alps trip, let me tell you that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you will be fun, but to be honest, you need to be also... my friends I'm not so much into beer, but they are much into beer, so you need to be strong there as well.
Yeah. You might have just swayed him there,
Yeah.
Andreas.
You got me strong on one side. Yeah. Perfect. So to end the drive, Andreas, we always finish with a quick fire round of rapid questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you 10 quick fire questions.
Okay, good. Let's get started.
Let's start. First one. Do you prefer cycling or driving?
Both.
Both.
That's not a clear answer, but I like both.
You sat on the fence, but we'll let you have it. Do you prefer to work from the office or work remotely?
Oh, clearly I prefer to work from the office. It's so much more fruitful to solve tough problems in the office. I really appreciate working in the office.
Do you prefer to take a vacation within Germany or go abroad?
I mostly go to Italy to vacation or abroad. But Germany is lovely, but I'm spending when we go to vacation, we mostly go outside of Germany.
Any Italian cycling trips?
I like the Lake of Garda a lot, and Tuscany is phenomenal to go with the bicycle.
Phone call or email?
Phone call.
That was quick. Lead an engineering team or just lead the commercial customer team?
At the moment I do both, but I think I have a strong passion for the P&L side of the house. So I think long term the business side.
Okay. What is one subject you would like to learn or know more about?
I would really like to learn personally a little bit more about artificial intelligence, where this could lead us to, and where are limitations. And I think there's a big hype around that right now, and I would like to find the time to learn more about it. I had to do in the past a lot with it, but I think this is progressing so fast it would be good to catch up.
Yeah, agree on that one. Work for a startup or work for a global established business?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think at a startup you can create very fast, quick results and do very innovative stuff. While in a corporate, if you have the right strategy in place, you can really move the needle for an industry or a society. And that's makes it very hard to answer. I would love to work in a corporate where you can, in some areas, work like a startup.
Yeah, best of both worlds.
Would you consider a full startup again?
Not now, but maybe in the future.
In the future.
Do you prefer having your own private office or working as part of a bigger shared office with colleagues?
Oh, we just reorganized our footprint here in Stuttgart. I have actually the pleasure of having both. When I'm working on stuff, I'm in the bigger office, But when I do phone conferences, which is a lot, then I go back into an own office. It's because I don't want to give the noise to everybody.
So you're on a shared floor at the moment with colleagues?
I'm 50, yes, we started 3 weeks ago. We changed the floor. I wanted to have like we call a leadership hub.
Yeah.
Where all the leaders are together and we try to drive quick decisions there. But if I do in the afternoons, I have many phone conferences with the US. And if I do that, then I don't want to bother everybody with my noise. So I go then back to a single office. Yeah.
Romantic night in or night out on the town with friends?
Both. But not with the friends romantic.
And finally, the best bit of advice you've ever been given?
Never give up.
Like that one. Short and sweet.
Absolutely. So Andreas, we are coming to an end. And the final question we always ask our passengers is, who would you like to see next in the passenger seat with Fields and Rudd?
You guys were very interested in software-defined vehicle and the future of the industry. I think you should talk to Christoph Horn. He's leading the automotive business at Accenture. From my perspective, he has the broadest, most comprehensive overview of the whole industry. I think you should talk to this guy. It will be very interesting for your audience. And he has a global overview of what's going on in this whole transition the automotive industry is currently happening. So I think you should talk to Christoph.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Andreas.
Thank you guys very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Perfect.